So it's it. We're live.
I miss Anthony. He needs to be like our launch phrase every week.
Well, we are hiring a technical person. If that person cannot be me, then things like that can happen.
Oh, great plug. Actually, so we have some summer student positions available. If you're interested in working with Bring on the Sunshine over the summer, please check out our website. We'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely.
We
Uh,
got we got lots of work for you.
Yeah.
Alan, you're looking a bit gray there. What happened?
It's called growing old. This this is what I am anticipating looking really like in the next few years. So I just happen to get myself made up and makeup and all the stuff so I can just figure out what would that look like in 10, 15
Alan,
years.
you're black though. I think it's your hair that grows gray, not your face.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I've got facial hair that's growing gray. So it's
You
me.
look like you worked in a flower factory.
He was rolling around in it.
Oh no, you see, this is what hard work does. When you're doing some work, sometimes you pass through where it's dirty. It's like gardening, dirty. It's like when you do a bit of work that involves you putting your strength around, your
Yeah.
biceps. Yeah, it
That's
can.
pretty fun, actually.
It is.
So
Yeah.
And
how is the garden going?
the garden is going very good. I mean, we are looking for people who want to eat. So we are looking for eaters.
But nothing's
Everything.
ripe yet, Alan. Is are things ripe yet?
No, but they will be in a few weeks. Now, the eaters I'm looking for, we are looking for eaters who also willingly volunteer a bit of their labor, and then they'll eat
Yeah.
the harvest as it comes through. But you can't eat all season. You can only eat for part of it. Otherwise, you finish everything in the garden.
And make the black farmer broke, huh?
Yes, so we are sending out an SOS all out anyone who's wanting to spend some time outside, wanting to plant, wanting to learn about plants, look at the food that we're growing. Please reach out to us, come and spend some time with us in the garden, weeding with a whole bunch of things planted. So what we're looking for is people to help us with weeding because it's organic. So we don't want to spray. We're not going to spray. But your labor is what keeps everything organic. So we don't spray, we work the garden and get the weeds out.
I was telling my partner actually how satisfying I find weeding. Like it's work, yeah, but it's very satisfying. And I was like, you know what? Like all those kids, like, and this was us back in the day because we were also kids. It's actually more satisfying than like squeezing your pimples. There's an image for you. Go pull weeds.
You guys
Yes,
are talking Greek. I'm not a fan of pulling weeds. Planting, yes, absolutely. I'm with
And
you.
eating.
Planting and eating, yes, I'm absolutely with you. But the weeding part, I could skip that.
well, you know what? We're looking for everybody. Those who enjoy planting, we plant throughout summer. Why? Because some things will ripen in 30 days, in 40 days, right? And then it's gone. So we plant again so that throughout the season we have. So that's like herbs, like cilantro, like lettuce, stuff that's constantly. So if you're a planter, you're more than welcome to do some planting and you get to pick up some of the food that you planted, right? And if you love weeding, come along, weed, and you look behind where you've weeded and you see all these beautiful plants, peppers, cabbages, red cabbages, radishes, broccoli, you name it. And you get to smile and pick your fancy and go cook that very day.
Tell us more about where the garden is, Alan, because it's in quite a special place.
Yes, the garden is Merryhill, right? Yes, in Merryhill.
Beautiful.
It's called Village View Road, a corner Village View Road and Forester. That's where the garden, the farm, the greenhouses, everything is at. Now, ah, that's where we are. It's a beautiful spot. but it's about to become not so beautiful if
Why?
what is being talked about and planned comes to be. Right next to that, someone someone wants to put a gravel pit. Gravel.
Really?
Yeah, prime farming land, beautiful land. There's it's fragile land. There's
We have a river too. Isn't it the Grand River watershed is right there?
absolutely, and they want to dig up and get gravel. It's like, oh yeah, right. You want to start talking gravel because you've seen black people farming around that area. Hey,
So for those of us who are, not environmentally conscious like me, so what's the consequence of this gravel pit you're talking about? What's the big deal?
the big deal is it affects water. That's one. You dig, there are wells all around there, right? That we use either for drinking water, for irrigating. And once you dig a gravel pit that's going to go down, there's going to be contamination. There's no way you can avoid contamination.
Mm.
I have yet to see a report that says you can absolutely avoid contamination, especially when you have two reports that are being given. One, obviously, sponsored by the company wanting to do a driveway. Obviously, they'll come back and say, hey, everything is okay. And then the other is the Hopewell Creek residents. And obviously, people who care about the environment, who care where they live, and to keep it pristine. Like we said, it's the Grand River catchment area. So we shouldn't be doing that. We should be
Wow.
protecting that. I mean, I know the province right now is talking about increasing the green belt.
Mm.
Well, if we're increasing the green belt and then on the other end we are digging it up and doing whatever.
That is really sad. Like Merryhill is like just it's an exquisitely beautiful little, piece of Ontario. Like I was chatting with a friend of mine who lives out there actually, and she says a lot of the people there have lived there for, I mean, a couple hundred years, and they came from this area called Alsace-Lorraine in France, Germany, and it looks very similar, like these rolling hills and like these beautiful rivers. It's got
Yeah.
this cute little church, this really amazing little ice cream spot. We went there last summer, Alice, with the kids. Yeah, and I mean,
Yeah.
they want to put a gravel pit.
Yeah. And you know, we
Golf
grow
course
amazing.
too.
like seriously, environmentally conscious people who love everything about the environment, everything about growing organic stuff, everything about knowing where your food is coming from and it's being grown in your local area. Please lend us your voice. Actually,
Wow.
give it to us. Don't even lend it. Give it to us so we
Yeah.
can use it to throw it around so maybe we can get a little more weight and push back against these gravel people because we don't need the gravel pit in Merrill. Everybody I know who lives in Merrill area doesn't want the gravel pit.
And it's
Yeah.
amazing to me because, like, how many black farmers are there in Ontario? Like, how many in Waterloo region? Like, how many? And they want to put the gravel pit, like, right next to your farm?
Yeah, right next
What
to
is that
where we
about?
right where we next we do cultural things. We bring youth who don't have access to land, who don't have access to, but they come out and spend time learning how to plant. What the patience that comes from learning that when you plant, you wait until it comes. That teaches
Mm,
patience. That's a cultural thing that we have grown up with and known, and now we are
mm.
imparting to our youth here, and it's about to be ripped away again. It's like seriously.
It's almost like we make this stuff up. Like, yeah, it's kind of crazy how it just kind of happens. Well, it's not crazy. Someone out there, we would think, there's powers that make these decisions and stuff, and how we end up caught in it all the time. Yeah, it's
And you wonder, like, because we're all at home with COVID, and what kinds of things are getting rammed through while no one is paying attention because we're all like home. Like, this is
Yeah.
one of those things. Like,
It's insane. And the council, Woolwich Council, needs to step up. They need to step up and be like, no, we can't do that. Yeah. We know a few people in the council. We're not gonna call out names because right now you ain't proved that you're not going to work with us. So we're not going to call out names, but just so you know, we know you and you know us before we start shouting names. Do something about it. Really, seriously. And while talking about that, while we're on that subject of if you know us and we know you, do for us like we do for you. I'll leave it like that until next time. But one thing that is absolutely most dear to us is the news that came out about the the painful residential school memories, and people used to, oh no, it wasn't that bad. Oh, why take down say John McDonald's statue? Blah blah blah. That's Canadian history. Well, now where are you hiding at? 215 children killed. Where is you people who was talking about SJ? It's just Canadian history. Like seriously, at this point, people just need to step back, close their mouths, and recognize how nasty Canadian history is.
Yeah. I was walking because I'm trying to think, like, what do you even say to something like this? You can't even say, let's find healing. Like, how do you even heal from something like that? And I was like, you know what? Like, just thinking like my role, like I'm obviously a settler. My ancestors are white. Some of them are from Canada. So, I don't know what they were doing. And like I did not do that. And I don't condone that. But it's like, when there's a mess in the kitchen, everybody can say, well, I didn't do it, but who's going to clean it up unless someone takes responsibility? So I mean, this is something we can do. Like, it's awful. We can take responsibility and try and find a way to build something from this. I
For me, my problem.
I don't have words.
My problem is with the defenders.
Your sound is really bad, Tichaona.
Sorry. My problem is with the defenders, right? It's one thing to not have been there when it was happening. None of us were. We're not old enough to have been. So we acknowledge it and make something in terms of trying to fix the wrongs if we can. But the minute you defend the past when you know what was going on. But right there, if you were thinking you were not racist, bam, racist. If you were wondering how, we end up thinking racist when you're defending the indefensible. Yeah. My battery is dying. Maybe that's why my volume is bad. So I'm gonna have to bow out, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But
It's funny because, like, well, it's not
did you
funny.
see that? Did you see that?
You're having fun, my brother. Wherever you are, you're having a lot of fun.
Yeah, when we talk about this
All right.
news, I think for me, and I don't know, it's a sense that I have, but it's a sense that I wish everybody has had as well, to just pause. Like, social media is great. We advocate and we do all these things, but like Alan can speak to, the gravel pit and all that stuff because he's a biochemist, right? He can speak to that. He's an expert in that. We can speak to our experience as Black people, but I don't want to downplay the experience of the natives. Or I don't want to be, I'm careful not to put words in their mouth, even if I feel like I can relate in certain ways, because we had mission schools and all these other things. So I see that. But it is so important for us to actually stop and recognize that as much as I'm painting, there's a people who's actually like directly impacted in this. And so we need to give them the space to be able to voice what they're actually feeling without us putting words in their mouth, without us talking over them, without this constant thing that happens in social media where everybody's outraged, but the people who are directly impacted are silenced. Like, and as a Black person, I'm very, very conscious of that. So I always dance between, yes, I want to magnify this, but I want to make sure I'm not taking over the conversation, because this one is not about me and my blackness. It's
May
really not. Eh?
I just say this? I completely acknowledge and understand that, and I respect that, and thank you for saying that. I'll speak this just for me. I have suffered discrimination since before birth.
Mm.
So discrimination, segregation, subjugation, I understand. No matter where it shows up its head, I understand it. So the pain that is being felt, I know it too, because it has been visited on me as well. So seeing it here, just, I guess it's like a trigger. It wakes up everything else from before. And we're like, this is what is being suffered across the world. And right now, ah, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional. It's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much.
In the civilized world where things are supposed to be
I'm gonna
better.
have to get off. Thank you guys. Thank you. For me, this is just me. I'm afraid I might say it.
We're losing you, Alan. Yeah. Okay.
It got too
Yeah.
deep.
Yeah. I was actually thinking about these kids, but then I was just thinking about like all the genocides that happened in Africa as well. Like there was just recently in the paper, it was Germany decided to make reparation to Namibia for the genocide of I think it was the Herero and the Nama people. Like their wells were poisoned, they were chased into the desert. Like, yeah,
Yeah, it is.
there's not something money can, because, money can never give you back life.
No, it really can't. It's a bigger reconciliation that, and I think the first step is acknowledging it, is acknowledging the trauma and the pain that is in the history. I don't think we sweep it under the rug. Absolutely not. We talk about it, but in talking about it, we recognize that there's these, the residential schools, there's people still suffering because of this thing that happened not in the immediate history, right? Like, if anything can make real what colonization and this global thing that happened 400 years ago is to people in North American continent, I hope this is it. For us, we saw a lot of reality because we were there, and we were born before independence in Zimbabwe and stuff like that. But this is here, so it's not in a faraway, distant land. It's not, it's here.
The thing is, like, because there's like I think like psychologists talk about like dissonance, and so you have an idea of who you are and how things are, and when things happen that oppose that, you're like, oh no, that's not real. Like there was a post on Facebook about how with the Humboldt the bus crash, and there were like 15 children who died in this terribly tragic accident, and the nation just like
Yeah.
it gripped the whole of Canada and the hockey sticks and or whatever, and you're not seeing the same response to this, which I get because it's kind of like mind-numbingly horrific.
Yeah.
But it's like, and it's so like, oh, well, Canadians are like this. We're Canadians and we're nice because, and this is really not nice. So
no, yeah. No, it's terrifying. And I think for those people who want to close their eyes and pretend that things never happened and things are not happening, you know, be open to listening, be open to hearing other people's stories, to seeing the facts that are there, and acknowledging other people's trauma. Just, you can't change what happened to me, but being able to let me feel, being able to acknowledge, to say, this wrong was done to you, to your people, it goes a long way. you know, it
It's
really
something actually. It's one of your personal gifts, actually, Alice. Is like coming alongside people who are grieving. Like I've seen you do it, and it's. I mean, I don't want to say it's quintessentially African because people are people, but like it's very culturally African to just come and be
yeah,
with people who are grieving. Like you don't have the answers, you're not solving the problems, you just be.
yeah. Just sit in it.
Yeah.
Just sit in it and know that, you know what, when they fall down, I'm here, right? Like I'm crying with you. That is the way that you show. But because if you're running away, you don't want to feel what they're feeling, right?
Yeah.
Because when you're in the same space with someone who's feeling that magnitude of trauma, that energy passes on to you. You're going to feel what they're feeling. You're going to see. There's no way you can say, "Oh no, this is fake news," because the emotion is there. It's not about their words. You can actually see the pain that
Mm.
that is running through their veins, right? So we need to be able to sit in that moment, in those
Mm.
emotions, and actually be still and feel the feelings, so we can actually start to acknowledge and heal and find our way through this.
My culture is not good at that. Yeah, my culture is not good at that.
No, a lot of people aren't, and because it's not comfortable. It's really,
No.
it's not comfortable because we want to run. We want to
Mm.
numb our feelings. We want to, watch TV or go do stuff, right? No,
Mm.
let's go post on social media so I actually don't have to sit here and feel it.
Mm.
So, you know,
There's there's this really amazing author who I've read little bits and pieces of called Resma Menakem. Like he's really topical right now if you're, if you read anything like about race and how to deal with this stuff. And one of the things he said that I just thought was so profound was how, all of the things that the things that the sort of like for you as a Black person are, you experience the racism in the society that we live in, but it's nothing to do with you actually. And it's like all this like multi-generational trauma of white people that moves down from the next person to the next person, and he says it kind of gets blown through black and brown bodies. So like looking at how, so often as white folks we really struggle to be with grief and pain is because it reignites our own grief and pain that we haven't dealt with, right?
yeah, yeah,
We haven't
absolutely.
dealt with it. So now we're like doing all these terrible things to other people. Like yeah. Anyway, I was looking at some really awful like history stuff just from the Congo. Like people are like, oh my God, the war in the Congo is so awful. It's so terrible. If you go back like a couple of 100 years and you research what the Belgians did in the Congo,
Yeah,
it's beyond horrific. And you're like, yeah, well, there you go, right? Like it's trauma being pushed through. It's like, oh, yeah.
absolutely.
And just like that, the capacity to sit and be with other people's grief as well as your own, like there's such an incredible strength there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really good point to say it brings out your own trauma, because just thinking about like part of what Alan was saying, like like when you look at the situation, you're not trying to make it about you, but there are certain things like the mission schools that were back home. They were mission schools. They were Christian, so they had to be good, right? And so you go through it, like parents would send their kids to these schools because really this is where you get the good education. So you were kind of brainwashed into believing that this was something that was good for you and good for your kids. And then now to sit in this moment and actually revisit that and say, oh, this is what used to happen in those schools. And, this is how the kids were treated. It's uncomfortable, right?
Mm.
Because, if you're a parent in that generation, now you have to acknowledge that you sent your kid there, or that you even thought that this was because it's they're missionaries, they're doing all this good work, so they say it's good for me, so it must be, and now we get to look at it objectively and say, okay, cut the crap. It really
Mhm.
was just this is just really what it was, right?
Mhm.
And so that's, yeah, it does take you back to reflect on some of those things in history that you didn't want to accept. You don't want to accept
Mhm.
that's how people treated each other. That's how people treated our kids. That's how people treated us. But history is we can't
Mhm.
change it. It just, it doesn't lie anymore if we're talking about the truth.
Mhm.
So
There's a friend of mine who I will tag on this post, who you know as well, Carolina. He made an amazing post about her trip to Berlin and how
yeah,
that culture tell the story of the Holocaust and the two world wars. So, so it's not covered up, it's not forgotten, but it's retold like on a really local level. Like that's the bullet hole, and that's the plaque, and so people will never forget, and they know that it's not you didn't do it yourself, but we
yeah.
all have a responsibility to make sure this never happens again. Like, how do we do this here in Canada? How do we do this? Like we're now Africans in the diaspora as well, but those stories happened in our homelands as well. Like, how do we make sure this never happens again? I don't know the answer, but it's an important question.
Well, and how do we heal the people who've, that generational trauma has just been passed on over and over again in just
Yeah.
in the education, in the language, in the everything, in this what they're worth.
Well,
It's
it's one of those things that white people have to do. I know that much.
it's one of those things that we all have to do. Like, yeah, we all must absolutely sit in this and yeah, and deal with it. I mean, yeah, white people more because they I can relate because I know my experiences. It's harder as a white person because you know you haven't been discriminated against to the same
Mhm.
extent. It's
Mhm.
probably easier as a white woman, but harder as a white male because again, who's discriminating against you? There are all these layers. So you really have to be open to seeing an experience that's beyond you and not as an attack on you as Jackie or you as whoever you
Mhm.
are, but as this is just a fact. This is just
Mhm.
what happened. You know, help the community heal just by acknowledging and being better and
Mhm.
not perpetuating the past. So
Yeah, when you look at the history, it seems like a really low bar. Let's not do that again, please. But yeah, humanity.
well, but at least we are, I don't know. Yeah, we have an opportunity. Let me say that.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and we have an opportunity to
it's
be different.
true. It's true, and it's absolutely. It's back to the kitchen analogy. Like, if no one's going to clean up the kitchen's not going to get clean. So this is something we can do, right? We
Yeah,
we can take responsibility and just make sure that this is never forgotten, never happens again, and that the story is fully told.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and by those who are impacted the most too. Like I think their voice is so much more important than anybody else's. Yes, let's all advocate for it, but let's also let those people who are in those communities speak for themselves because those stories I as far as I know the native cultures are uh, the same or similar to our cultures, which a lot of those stories are passed down verbally. They're not written down, so that trauma, that experience, we may just have discovered it today, but they may have told the story between themselves
Yeah,
for the past since it happened, right? So
yeah.
let's let them have that, be able to tell that story in
Hmm.
the way that they recall it too. So yeah, on that heavy note, this is not a fun one today, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, as always, so awesome to hang out with you, Alice.
it's always good to hang out with you, even though we're talking about horrific and hurtful things.
It's by coming together, right? We come together as community, we come together as sisters, we come together as friends, we come together as family. It's by coming together that we find our way through.
Absolutely. And thank you, everyone, for taking the time to hear our thoughts and connect with us. Please do feel free to reach out to us at Bring On the Sunshine through email, through Facebook, Instagram, and all those other channels. And again, for those young folks who want to be with us this summer. We do have some summer jobs that we're listing. So, yeah, reach out to us and we would love to have you on board. And have a great evening, folks.
Bye, friends.